Hey everybody, welcome to Hammered Ironworks. I'm Dave, if we haven't met. If we have met, I'm still Dave. Anyway, this is my sweet 2004 Ford Expedition. We're going to give this thing a little bit of a walk around, gawk at it, a guac. Anyway, we'll do that and then talk about a project I want to do. I want to put a big old roof rack up on the roof, because that's where those go. Stick around. Always looking to give the people what they want. If you don't want to see anything about my sweet expedition, which you might want to see, go ahead and skip ahead to where I start building this rack right here, probably right around 6 minutes into the video. And I build this rack as my first project after I built my Rogue Fab tubing bender. And boy, there's a learning curve, but it is an amazing tool if you learn how to use it. So this right here is a 2004 previously enjoyed Ford Expedition. I think it come out of some southern states. She's not too rusted out. I got it for the right price of shop soda. Diddly-doo, diddly-doo. Yep, we time warped back to when I first got it. It did not look like much, still doesn't. The inside was trashed, the outside was trashed, parts are bad everywhere, but I did give 8 premium shop sodas to own this piece of rolling, smelly luxury. Check out the back of this. It was used for like some sort of a rolling dumpster slash truck slash I don't even know what. Anyway, with a few weeks of work and some cheap China Rock Auto parts, I got her going. Diddly-doo, diddly-doo. A friend of mine come across this, didn't really want to revive it. I decided, hey, I want to revive that. So, that's what I'm doing. Let's look at the inside. We'll start back here. Custom homemade red tow hook. I should have made a video on some of this stuff, but I just got carried away working and didn't. Anyway, got this here repurposed Jeep mat. All the stinkies of the wet trash I throw back here, but it does kind of smell like stinkies. Previous owner kind of used it for a truck. That's fine. It's, it just shows that it's really served its purpose on the planet. I like it. Got some repurposed exhaust come off of, I think, a Ford F-150. Dumpster fine. Welded that baby up. Cut it into a bunch of different sections and scabbed it together. Called it an exhaust. I mean, look, it's got some shiny stuff under here. Look at that. These tires are hard as a day is long. Old tires that come off of a Ford Raptor, I think, years ago. And they were all feathered up and they're noisy. However, that doesn't matter on something like this. Let's just take a tour of the front. I mean, it didn't come equipped with all this dog hair. That's from my dog. But, oh look, it does have a shop soda in there. And it's got 1 extra horsepower. Got a couple scratches. Old floor mats that my son used to have in his car. It's got some racing stripes paint on the door. It's nice. Makes it fast. This old girl can seat a lot of people. It's kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's even got the fancy keyless entry stuff. We like that. That's pretty fancy. I mean, it's got a seat that's nice and broken. You can put some things down in here as an extra place to store stuff. It's kind of nice. I don't know what that is down there. It looks important. Maybe it's this. Power seats, manual recliner, paint, another floor mat stole from my son's car, a little bit of grease on the door handle. All in all, this is a sweet ride. Take a look at the old mileage on this girl right here. She is just barely broke in. Anyway, this old girl has everything you need and nothing you don't. Look at the heater controls. Simple. 1, 2, 3 knobs. My favorite. Oh, and she plays the tapes. Or it holds the extra horsepower. Love it. It even does those compact disc things. Those are still around. Auto headlamps because of luxury. Look, power pedals that don't work. Love it. Let's not forget to look underneath where all the magic happens. 4.6 liters, naturally aspirated, all kinds of life, no power ever. My favorite engine. Even got a pretty new battery in the old girl. So anyway, that's enough of looking at it. Let's close her up. And then talk about what needs to happen. It needs a big old roof rack. Now this is a 2-wheel drive, but that doesn't matter if you weld up the rear diff, which I'll do eventually, or maybe buy a spool. But I gotta make a roof rack. Oh, she gotta be yay tall, go all the way up here, then maybe get skinny here, then have a light bar up front with a big light bar. And then we gotta have lights looking over here, lights looking over there. Gotta have a big old CB antenna because, hey, it's an off-road buggy. I mean, the trim's a little faded, but I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, on with the project. To use my tubing bender and build something that actually attaches to the factory roof rail. I don't know if you can see this roof rail, but basically I gotta find a way to attach to this so I don't have to drill any holes in the roof, because I would like it not to leak water and stink any worse on the inside than it already does. Okay, pipe bending time. Wish me luck on this one. Here we go. So I did a little bit of math and figured distance of linear inches in the corners where I gotta put my clamp blocks. Like, there's a whole tutorial on this stuff online to use with this bender. I got it, this thing's light, don't worry. I got it. It's good, I swear. I swear I won't hurt myself doing this. Oh, yeah, there it is, yep. Very easily moved. No. So let's be clear, I have never done this, so we'll just see how this goes. Okay, I've got math, and I went outside, I measured up what I actually want for my roof rack width, inside width of 45 inches. Then I want a 75-inch length, kind of making a rectangular halo right now. So I've kind of mapped out the halfway point at the front of the rack, which will hopefully be hidden behind a light bar out front. I've got my clamp block, my first one. Then I'll go way down there and I will zero out this angle finder and leave it on 0, so hopefully I stay on the same exact plane. Okay, I'm zeroed out. I'm going to use my degree indicator. Okay, so I want to zero out right now. I'm looking to make this a 90-degree bend. So I've got my 90, and I went a few extra degrees for spring back, about 3 degrees, 3.5 degrees. Okay, so I got my 75-inch length, I think. I screwed up on my halfway point here, so I'll have to lob some of this off, but you know, that's the learning curve, it's fine, it'll be good. So I zeroed out the pipe, so it should hopefully be all on the same plane. I kind of forgot to put juice on it. Okay, so due to poor math skills and being a degree off or so, you can kind of see it's got a little bit of a twist to it. And the big bummer is I did not nail my distance from here to here. I wanted 45, so I'd be able to integrate it with my factory roof racks. And yeah, I ended up with, 48. And I'm not sure why, but I started to think about why and didn't care. I'll just cut it and make it what I need. So now my goal is to make 2 of these equal, and I'll weld them together in the middle and end up with the dimension that I meant to have in the beginning. I've mapped this out so my clamp block should hopefully land and bend that last piece so I got the same length overall. That's close enough for the vehicle is going on, that's for sure. So I took these 2 big old parentheses and I married them down there. Now I'm going to do another matrimony ceremony up here. And my floor is not quite level, so I'm using this level to get a straight edge. I may have to tweak things a little bit, but I'll marry it up here and then do that. I now have my hoop. That took way too long. Okay, so here's a little something that's happened. So I turned the camera off, started working, tried to figure out my screw up. I found out that I didn't get my distance correct because this distance from this to here, I wanted at 45 inches. I was 3 inches over because the width of my block. So once I figured that out, then I knew I could make my upper piece, which I'm working on right here. So I do have my 45 inches. This will be now the next layer on top of that other rectangle. And I'm just gonna do what they call, well, what do they call, like a fish mouth or some sort of, I don't know, cutout type thingy. So the tubing will go onto that tubing over there. So I got myself some of these little templates. I printed off the old interwebs, and basically that's my 30-degree angle. So I put that on there, drew out a line. Now I'll cut it, so hopefully that will all come together by notching that out. So there's a lot nicer ways to do this, but you know, this still kind of gets her done. So now I've got to clean this up a little bit, but I should have a usable product, and hopefully it's going to be at the same height as that wretched one I did over there. Okay, so this right here is the basic plan. This will be the back of the rack, and then up front I'll have some light bar that goes up here. But now I'm going to tack this in place, get my distance all leveled up for spacing, so these are both parallel, you know, bottom and top rung. Then stretch this out, probably 3/4 of an inch, and then tack that in place, and then start figuring some rungs to go in between. That's the basic plan. So for the upright pieces, I've just got a piece of tube in here. I used a hole saw and a drill press to cut 1 3/4 inches through there, because I'm using 1 3/4 inch pipe. And then I've given myself a center punch so I can get my distance from the inside of this notch to be 5 11/16 is the magical number for the distance to be level and parallel. Just because, you know, that's how it worked out. Zero planning. Notch that I'll be able to knock out. And hopefully this distance worked out to be right. So that's the gist of it. Then I'll do 6 of them, 2 here, 2 in the back, and then 2 over there. So I've got a lot more to do. I'm going to try and perfect my whole notching technique for these, because I sort of got to mass produce 5 more, and that's pretty painful the way I did that last one. Then I kind of just hit these with a grinder, get these thin pieces gone, so I'll have something meaty to weld to. Then a little bit of final grinding. Just working my way around. Pretty good fit. So I got these basically cut out, symmetrically space them out, weld them in eventually. Now I'm going to work on making some light mounts, because I want to have like some lights that face forward to the side of the vehicle, and then I got to put some in the back for reverse lights. So now I got to make brackets. I've cut out a pattern. Now I'm going to cut it out on the bandsaw. pattern, traced, cut it out on a bandsaw. This is one of those kickstart bandsaws. So nothing but accuracy and precision right here in this place. You got a little, knot bent right here. We'll fix that. So after fine tuning, tweaking, beating, grinding, this is basically what I'll be making 3 more of. And then of course I gotta punch a hole for the center mount of that light. And then I've got this curve right here so I can stick it on the side of that tubing, weld it up. So through the magic of this here Walmart video recorder cell phone thing, that's number 1, that's number 2, number 3, and number 4. I mean, they're not exact, but they're definitely gonna do what they gotta do to hold those lights. So I got this light bar I want to put on here, so I'm going to make some mounts that'll hold it. Mount. So I've got these mounts out of old rusty metal and you can see the pitting, but whatever, good enough, it's free. Those will basically go on here and hold the light bar. I need to put another hole in there to make it look cool, but I broke my hole saw attachment, so I'll deal with that later. Now, time to move on to putting a CB antenna mount on the back. I'm gonna make a little bracket so a magnetic CB antenna will go there. Found this in the scrap pile 10 years ago off of an automotive lift, so I'm gonna cut this out and give myself a mount. So I made myself that little bracket. That will go down here eventually. And right now I'm just working on tacking some of these uprights in place. Then I'll start to tack everything else in, and then once it's all tacked together, I'll flip it around, weld it every which way. Now to get these light mounts on here where I want them, I'll use this little electronic geometry box, and the floor's not perfectly level, but for the accuracy needed with these mounts, I think it's going to be pretty close. Okay, so I've got the whole thing welded up, and I still need to add the actual front mounts for the light bar, but there it is. Now I'm gonna try to slide that up on top of the old girl, without scratching it too deep. I don't mind scratches, just not all the way through the metal. Yeah, I got it. No, it's easy, I swear. It's really light. It doesn't weigh much. Okay, here we go. This could be an epic fail. Come on, baby. Oh, no, not gonna work. Yeah. Oh. Okay, yeah, this might work. And it might not. Yeah, that seems to be pretty good. That was fine. Yeah. Couple scratches, they're okay. That's fine. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's sweet. Okay, there it is. Damage free. Perfect. So I did get a hole saw and cut out the holes. So now this is what I'm working with. I put a little bit of a bend to the end of it. I might even give a little bit of a bend right here at the end so it sort of fits the curve of the tube. See how that doesn't really fit the curve of the tube right there? I'll kind of give that a bend and make it come together. So after an embarrassing amount of time to taking these on and off and getting the right curve and the right bend and spacing and all that, I finally got it where I think it's going to be usable. I'm going to weld her up and call that part of it done. I'm happy with the outcome so far, but this has taken way longer than I had hoped. Sorry. So that means this build is going to be a 2-episode build. This is part 1. This is what I've got so far. Pretty happy with my light bar and how these mounts look. They come out pretty level. For those of you paying attention, there is a gap over here on the floor. That's because my floor is not straight. The whole thing is racked about 1/16 of an inch, near as I can tell with my crooked floor, and I can totally make up for that when I build my mounts and put it on the roof. I'll make myself some sort of a strapping system or something for that spare. For those paying attention, I know that is exactly not the tire that's on the vehicle, but it was free and I like it because it's close enough to the right size. I've got one of my lights mocked up back here, my little antenna mount. It is coming together. So, don't forget, stay cheap, cheesy, and crafty. We'll see you in the next episode where hopefully I actually get this done. Or maybe that'll be 2 episodes from now. Whatever.